YouTube, I am back once again. Now I know someone is gonna ask, dude, where the fuck have you been? Why do you always disappear? What's up with that? To that I say that's a really good question. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When it comes to video recording and actually being a content creator, I have some issues with it. Mostly the biggest issue is I'm not used to really being on camera. And that's the first kind of thing for me that I have to get really used to. And the next thing is, to be honest, I hate editing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really hate the editing process when it comes to the videos. I mean, you talk about I have to sit here, record the video, edit the video, make the cuts, all that other stuff. The shit is very time consuming. I'm just gonna be honest. The most important thing is really just the whole getting on camera thing. I want to make this work. I really want to be more involved with my YouTube stuff because I got a lot to talk about. I love guns. This is my hobby. This is, kind of a really big passion of mine. So it's not that I don't want to do it. It's just, I really got to kind of get used to it. Mostly the editing part and the kind of being on film part. But I'm going to do it. I promise you, I got me this time. Now, since putting out that last video, a couple things have happened. I actually got 2 of my 3 suppressors out of jail. I have rebarreled my 300 blackout build, so I went from a 10-inch to a 7.5. Picked up a couple more guns, had some projects that kind of worked out and came, together. So yeah, I got a lot of content I want to shoot for y'all. Trust and believe me, and it is coming this year. Y'all got my word. But once again, y'all not here to hear me ramble about a bunch of bullshit. We're here to talk about something new, and that new thing would be the Palmetto State Armory Dagger Micro Dagger Micro. However they call this thing or whatever they call this thing, yeah, I got one in. Now I am trying to change the way that I actually do my videos. I kind of want to be more on film so I can get used to it more. So it's not gonna be no tabletop view. We're actually gonna look at it from this perspective. And yeah, so let's get into it. Before we get into this, I'm gonna unload the gun so you guys know what it is, but firearm is safe. These are dummy rounds, YouTube, bitch. Don't fucking take me down. These are dummy rounds. Gun is clear. So, y'all heard it. Okay, so the Palmetto State Armory Dagger Micro. At this point, if you're into firearms at least a little bit, you know who PSA is. But for those who don't, Palmetto State Armory is a company who pretty much manufactures and kind of replicates current firearms. But the name of the game for them is to get firearms in the hands of more civilians at a more affordable cost, because let's be honest here, firearm stuff gets pretty expensive. Trust me, I know. So that's pretty much the name of their game, and this is no different. So this is based on a Glock 43X, the Gen 3, I believe. Yeah, this is pretty much their version of that. Disclaimer, I'm actually not a fan of the OEM Glock 43X. I'm really not a fan of that gun. I think it shoots terribly. It's really not conformed for my hands and everything like that. It's just overall a shitty gun to me. That's just my opinion. I don't need nobody getting offended. It's my opinion. But I know people who own a Glock 43X. I know people who carry a Glock 43X every day. I know people who use the Glock 43X as their summer carry, and they kind of swap during winter. And a lot of people who I've asked, they always say that the reason that the Glock 43X kind of shoots terribly is because of the grip. I have experience with it. I've never owned a Glock 43X, but I have shot a Glock 43X. I've held a Glock 43X. I think I agree with that stance, to be honest with you, because for some odd reason, this was way more enjoyable to shoot for me than the actual Glock 43X. It's crazy to say. Now, obviously, like I said, Palmetto State Armory's thing is kind of replicating current guns out there in the market, particularly the Glock line of firearms. But they add their own twist to it, right? So with this Glock 43X clone, it pretty much has a better grip, texture, profile, everything. It's not really how that Glock 43X has that weird, you guys know what I'm talking about, but it just looks way better. It actually conforms to my hands way better. It's just a really, really nice firearm altogether. Nice little grip texturing all around. it's really, really good. Now the slide has really nice serrations on it. Really, really nice. Actually looks way better than the 43X, to be honest with you. Really like how that is. Really nice slide. It is optics ready as well, right out of the box. I never really know what's the actual cut, so I just call it a K footprint. So your 407K, 507K, RMRCC, etc., etc. Those will fit on this thing, no problem. Yeah, really fan of that too. The gun comes with those annoying, ugly ass irons that the actual Glocks come with. I actually think these are metal. I'm not entirely sure, so don't quote me, but I think these are metal on there. I think the ones on the actual Glocks are plastic. I don't know, I don't keep them long enough to actually care. But yeah, regular irons with the 2 dots in the rear and the 1 dot in the front, pretty much the same thing. The trigger on this gun is their hinge kind of design trigger. I don't really know what to say on this trigger because when I dry fired it, I immediately wrote it off. I hated the trigger. I'm like, this trigger is some fucking bullshit, I'm gonna be honest with you. But I went to go shoot it. I put 250 rounds to it in the first day, and I kind of opened up to it. That being said, I'm still gonna replace it, just gonna be honest with you guys. It's not that the trigger is necessarily terrible, because it's really not terrible. It'll do the job just fine. It's just not my style of trigger. I can kind of show you guys what it is. So if you listen to that, we're gonna go ahead and pull. So it has a little bit of creep, as you guys can see. We'll go ahead and reset it. So yeah, you guys can clearly see what that is. Like I said, it's not a terrible trigger. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all. It'll do the job just fine. But I kind of like a different style of trigger, so I have a Johnny Glock's trigger kit coming in. I think it's supposed to be here tomorrow, so when I get it in, I'm gonna replace it. It's pretty much gonna replace everything, the firing pin, the actual trigger bar, the trigger shoe, everything. Putting the gun down for a second, the gun actually comes in this really nice, pretty much generic PSA bag with their logo. Let me see if I can open this really quick. Yeah, really nice bag, PSA, stuff in there, kind of has like a Velcro setup for it. It also comes with 1 PSA 15 round mag. Did y'all hear me say that? I'm gonna say it again if you didn't fucking hear me. 1 PSA mag. It's a 15 rounder, but you only get 1. And when I get to the negatives of this gun, I'm going to ding the fuck out of it for this, because this is insane. The gun costs $400 and I only get 1 mag. Yeah, as far as taking down this gun, it pretty much comes down like any other Glock. I'm not gonna do it on camera because YouTube, but y'all know how it is. If you've ever touched a Glock or dealt with a Glock, it pretty much comes down the same way. It has the 2 tabs right here. You kind of pull the slide back a little bit, and yeah, it comes down, you know, like any other Glock. Now, let's talk about the actual shooting experience with this gun. Like I said in the beginning, I took this gun out the first weekend I got it, and I put 250 rounds through it the first day. I know that's not a lot to some people for T&E, but I had other guns I was focusing on. So I just put 250 rounds through it just to give it an actual function test and make sure that everything worked flawlessly. And out of 250 rounds, I only had 1 issue. So when shooting this firearm, I actually had 1 light primer strike with this firearm, and I think I had 1 issue where the trigger didn't reset when I let it go. I caught it on video. I caught all the issues on video. Oh, that was caught on camera. The gun it did not reset. That was caught on camera. This is with the OEM Glock magazines. And there's a round in the chamber. Look, I'm so happy I caught that on camera. There's a round in the chamber, and the gun did not reset. Yeah, I caught that. That was caught on camera. Uh-oh. Yeah, uh-oh. Something's wrong here. But after that, I mean, it pretty much cleared up. I don't know what happened. I took the gun down, checked everything out. So after reevaluating what just happened, it just seemed like that was a light primer strike on that round. I put the rest of them through and it functioned fine. I'm an honest guy. If something was wrong and it didn't function afterwards, I'll tell y'all. But after that, this is with the 15 round magazine now from them. Every round went through. Because I thought at first, when it was a light primer strike, I actually thought that the firing pin broke. The reason I thought that the firing pin broke is because Palmetto State Armory, while their daggers are really popular, they have a weak point on these firearms. And the weak point is that firing pin. I don't know what the fuck they got going on over there, but those firing pins are made of glass, literal glass. They do not last the test of time. From many reports that I have seen, a lot of people say that their firing pins have broken within the first couple hundred rounds. Some people say it gets to 1,000 rounds and it'll break. I'm happy to report that that wasn't the case. I actually don't know what was the case, but that wasn't it. Now, considering the fact that I like this gun so much that I'm gonna keep it in my collection, I just went ahead and ordered the actual full Johnny Glock's kit that they offer. And I think with Johnny Glock's kit, it replaces the actual firing pin assembly, the trigger bar, the trigger shoe, just the whole thing. Like I said, I plan to keep this gun because I like it so much that I just went ahead and replaced it, because if I'm gonna carry this thing, the last thing I wanna worry about is a firing pin breaking or not functioning when it's a life or death situation. So I would just go ahead and replace all that. It doesn't help that if people are gonna say, though, you know, those problems are out of proportion, yada, 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 you can literally go on PSA's website and they offer a firing pin kit for 20 bucks, I think. If that's not an issue for you, then, I mean, I guess, but if they offer that, and even if you go and, you know, email them and say, hey, my firing pin broke, they'll send you another one, yada, yada, yada. It's a widespread enough issue that they know it's there. So it's not me just talking out of my ass. Now, overall shooting this thing, I'm gonna be honest, I like how this gun shoots. Again, my luck with micro pistols and stuff like that has never really been good. But I'm gonna be real, I was able to hit my targets with this thing. And again, I've shot in a 43X. I wasn't able to hit shit, but this thing was actually very comfortable to shoot. It wasn't really snappy at all like that. Now, it is a micro gun, so based just on physics, you cannot fully mitigate recoil or snappiness on a micro gun. That's just physics. But this gun was actually very comfortable for me to shoot. And again, it was pretty accurate, really had no problems. Yeah, I like this gun a lot. It's gonna stay with me for sure. Yeah, it's a really good gun. Now, unfortunately, no gun in the world is perfect. And this is another example of that. But the action of this gun, or the shooting of this gun, or the reliability of this gun isn't the issue with it. It's really mostly on PSA's part. And I'm about to get into it. Considering the fact that I paid my own money for this firearm, I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I want. Now, I know some people are gonna either disagree with me or agree with me, or, you know, whatever, but any firearm that I purchase, I am very critical of, because, you know, money is money. Doesn't matter how much I get of it or whatever. If I'm buying something, I want it to work, I want it to function, and I'm gonna speak my mind about how I feel about it, whether it's the gun itself or the company, and this is no exception. Now, disclaimer, I am a fan of Palmetto State Armory, and this is my first firearm from them, so keep that in mind. However, that being said, they didn't do this gun no justice. And yeah, so the first thing I'm gonna talk about with this firearm that I have an issue with is the way that PSA released this firearm. Y'all who have seen my videos in the past know that when it comes to releases and how companies do releases or whatever, I'm very critical of how they handle the release. This was by far the shittiest release process I've ever seen for a handgun, a firearm in general. To be honest, I am a sneaker collector. I've been one for a long time. I know the whole thing about Jordans and how hard it is sometimes to get J's. why in the fuck was it harder for me to get this gun than the Gratitude 11s that just came out this past December? This gun in particular, you pretty much have to get lucky, be at the right place at the right time. The first time I tried to get this handgun, I was leaving my job. I stayed in the parking lot because what they do is they put the times and stuff, I guess, on Facebook and Reddit. I'm pretty active on Reddit. So I went ahead and I was like, okay, let me see if I can try to get one, just test it out. Had one in cart, was putting my information to check out. The website crashed and it was sold out by the time I got to the end point. So that kind of pissed me off, I'm not gonna lie, and it kind of turned me off to it. I was just saying, you know, whatever, fuck that, because if PSA is gonna do that, then whatever, right? Somebody was talking to me about, you know, pretty much their whole process and their thinking of, you know, we're gonna do the whole, you know, supply and demand thing. We're gonna slowly release them so we can get all the demand out and yada, yada, yada. And then we'll, you know, when everyone else has one and all this other shit, then we're gonna put them on our website regularly. Now, as someone with a business degree, I work in business. I understand how that stuff works. I commend it when it's there. Here's the problem though, and it kind of ties into the gun itself and the price of this gun. You cannot do that with a gun like this. And the reason you can't do that is because the price that they want for this firearm is almost comparable to the actual Glock 43 or the 43X. They're almost neck and neck, okay? And that's gonna kind of roll into my number 2 issue with this gun, the price. Now, this gun retails for, I got mine for $339 plus tax and shipping. The total cost was about $392. After my FFL fees and all this other stuff, it came up to about $422. At that price point, right, you can get you a real Glock 43X for around that same price tag. Now, I know someone's gonna say, well, where can you find it? Dude, they're on sale all the goddamn time. I see them all the time. Hell, in fact, this Christmas and this past Thanksgiving and New Year's and all this other shit, I've seen Glock 43Xs, real 43Xs, go on sale for $400 in FDE, in black, whatever, right? That's the first thing. The second thing with this is that because of that price tag and it being so close to the Glock 43X, you got to think about, this gun is not fully in the market yet, essentially. Like, some people have them, but it's not fully out there. Like, they're still doing the whole mini releases here and there, and while they do them every day, it's still not a worldwide gun, and not everybody has them. I haven't really seen any no real reviews on this firearm on YouTube, so it's not out there like that. But when you talk about price, you're getting a Glock 43X clone, right, for the price of a real 43X. Yeah, you kind of gotta weigh what is more important to you, because in reality, you can go ahead and buy you a real 43X, send it to Wager Machine, which is pretty much one of the most highly respected slide millers out here. They're local to Tennessee. You can send your slide to them. They can cut your slide, Cerakote your slide, do the whole thing, and you'll still be under what this gun cost me, essentially. And what I mean by under is, remember when I first started this video and I told you the 2 biggest problems I have with this gun is you only get 1 magazine with this firearm, right? And then the firing pin assembly on this firearm is a weak point. So I'm already at $422 just in the gun alone and the transfer fees. Then we talk about replacing the assembly, which a real OEM Glock 43X firing pin assembly is between $50 and $60. So if you do that, that's $422 plus $50 to $60. You're almost at $472, $480, somewhere around there, right? Okay, then you have to buy more mags because they only send you 1. At least with a real Glock 43X in the box, you get 2 at least, and you still spend around $400 and something. So when I did the review, because also what they're doing with these mags, I mean, it is just fucking abysmal. With these mags, they do mini drops of these mags. They do them every week or whatever, but they sell out pretty quickly. Look, I almost dropped that shit. I'm not editing that out. These mags, they're $32, right? They're $32 plus shipping. You're gonna spend almost $40 for one mag. And again, you got to get lucky. You got to be able to hopefully get one, right? So when I did the review on this gun and I went to go shoot it, I actually went to go grab 2 real Glock 43X mags, the 2 10 rounders, right? Because why not? At that point, I needed the extra, and I didn't want to keep reloading one fucking mag. So you're talking about, I spent $27 on 2 of these mags, so around 50 something bucks. So I'm over $500 already on a gun that's supposed to be budget. Please someone tell me where that makes sense. And on top of that, because it has a optics cut and all my guns have optics on them, that's another cost that I'm gonna have to put onto this. So while I do like this gun, I love it. I think it's a really nice gun. I like everything about it. I'm gonna keep this firearm. The fact of the matter is that there is no value to this gun. There's just not. There really is no value to this gun because in reality, you can make your 43X a better shooter than what it actually is out of the box. You can do whatever you need to do. You can get an optics cut. You know, you can buy more mags because the mags are cheaper for the Glock 43X. And, you know, I just don't see the value in this gun at its current price point. Now, luckily, PSA, they sell the grips modules or the grip itself on the website when you can catch them, because that's another thing they're doing. They're limited, you gotta catch it, and they're about $100. So you can really have your Glock 43X with the Glock quality and reliability and just throw their frame on there, right? And you'll still be under what this gun MSRP is for. Do y'all see where I'm going with this? I hope I'm not being too harsh, but I'm really trying to get y'all to understand where I'm coming from when it comes to this firearm in particular. But with that being said, while I do like this firearm, I currently cannot, with integrity, say that this is a good gun to buy right now, at least at its current price point. Because like the problems I mentioned, there's too many things and too many variables you have to think of when you're buying this gun. And for PSA to be a company that pushes affordability, this was a miss, at least at its current price point. From my understanding, they're probably gonna drop it down when they're more available, which if you're able to do that and get it at that lower price tag, then we can have a conversation. I'll be the test dummy for y'all. But at this current price tag, I cannot recommend this firearm, not at this current price tag. I recommend that you do what I said, get you a real 43X, that you won't have to replace the firing pin. You'll get an extra mag. You can send your slide to go to Wager or Jaegerworks or, you know, whatever. There's a lot of companies out here who can cut a slide. Wager's not the only one, but that's just who I choose to cut my slides. But you can send them to that company or whoever you choose and have a more reliable Glock 43X. I just don't see it right now for this gun. Maybe when they lower the price, I can say, you know what? Yeah, this is a gun for you. But at this moment in time, I can't recommend it. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna put out a new review when I put some more rounds through this thing and when I have the new Johnny Glock's trigger in here, because Johnny Glock already made his videos and stuff like that regarding his trigger kits in the Dagger Micro. So mine is coming on the way. I know this video is probably gonna break some people's hearts. I'm not out here to do that. I'm just a man of integrity. I can't lie. I don't want no one to go buy this thing will be like, well, shit, I bought it off your recommendation, because I'm not big yet, but I'm a man of integrity. I'm gonna go in talking the truth and I'm gonna leave talking the truth. I don't care if your feelings get hurt. We're gonna have our integrity around this motherfucker. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.